Okay, the story of our transmission. Now this journey started about 4 months ago when Lance and I took out the engine and removed the transmission. The engine got a full rebuild, and the transmission, we were looking at possibly rebuilding it, but we wanted to look at the internals, take it apart, see if everything was okay to move forward with, since we had a place to park long term if need be. Now what we know happened. When that transmission was apart, it took probably like 2 days that we were looking into it, the garage flooded. And when the garage flooded, we had to move things around. We were trying to get all the water out. And so we're moving, sliding things all around, and the transmission got moved. And transmissions are very sensitive. There are little balls in it. There's a ton of little things that need to go back in correctly. And when things were moved, Lance did his best to put it together, but something went wrong. We put the transmission in and it wouldn't shift out of first. And it's still not fixed. So we decided to make an appointment with the transmission shop. We were thinking maybe it is something small and simple that we're just not seeing, that they might be able to diagnose. We just couldn't really figure it out, and we decided it might be better to just wait for our appointment, get other things done on the van in the meantime. Well, then the appointment came. We took it in. We actually towed it with our little orange truck, brought it all the way into town. Took like half an hour to get there, and he had it for a day and a half, and he said without pulling it out and pulling it apart that he's not going to be able to figure out what it is. So it probably needs a rebuild, and that would cost us about what a new remanufactured transmission would also cost us. So we then brought it home, took the transmission out one more time to just see if we can visually see anything wrong with it, and Lance discovered that there's a check ball missing. We got the check ball from that transmission shop, put it in, reinstalled the transmission, and it shifted finally for the first time out of first. Probably shifted like a second time out of first again. So we're like, okay, it's working, but it didn't sound the best, and it wasn't working quite like a transmission should be working. And then Lance heard a boom, and it wouldn't go in park, wouldn't go in drive, wouldn't go in reverse. It completely stopped working. So I picked him up, we towed the van back to the house, and pulled the transmission out again. After Lance pulled out the transmission, pulled it apart, we saw things didn't look too good. There was probably about 3 to 4 parts. I don't know what they're called, I'm sorry. They're like the rings at the big part of the opening of the transmission. It was as if when we put the check ball in, it was able to shift, but when it tried to shift, it didn't grab everything correctly, and then all of that stuff got messed up when it did try to grab. So we could either try to order all those parts and wait for them and hope that that would fix it and make it work and that there isn't other things wrong with it, or we could try to find a remanufactured one, and we decided it's getting cold soon. This was about 4 weeks ago. Let's look at getting a remanufactured one that has a warranty, that should work, that will hopefully last us a long time. So looking for a 1997 7.3 E40D transmission, remanufactured. They pop up all the time. It seems like they're available, but then after you go through the full process, they tell you that they haven't rebuilt it or haven't remanufactured it yet, and it's probably going to be like a 9 to 12 week waiting period, and none of the websites have that on their website. It's so frustrating. We are going to try to go directly to figure something else out, or we could try to order all the parts for the transmission we have now and pray that that does actually fix the issue. Anyways, moving forward, I called one of the salvage yards here. It's actually the same salvage yard that we had gotten the roof from, gotten the windows from. This is the same salvage yard we have worked with all summer, so they actually know us there. He didn't think they would have any transmissions that would work for us, but about an hour and a half later, he called and he said that he found one out of a 97 shuttle bus that should work for the van, and it did. So apparently the shuttle buses have some component in them that makes it to where they can be 4x4. I said it wrong in the last video. Someone commented about that. I will put right here what Lance tells me. It still doesn't make sense in my head, but That's what Lance has told me. And they said it was only like a 3-day. If we buy over the phone, it'll take 3 days for them to pull it, have it ready for us. And they were right. We picked it up 3 days later. Okay, we are out getting everything for the transmission to go in. Lance is working on getting that in today. He is going to take the oil pan off, I believe, to change out the filter, and then we can kind of look a bit into it before putting it up and in. But honestly, we don't want to mess with it too much because we really just need it to work. The junkyard said it worked. Lance spent all day yesterday installing it. Finally was ready by probably like 7 o'clock at night to test. When I tell you we were both very nervous, it's a part of the adventure, and we would have been fine if it didn't work. Like, we would have figured it out. Maybe even if we had to wait another 9 weeks, we could wait another 9 weeks. Things happen. We're ready to move on. Anyways, so we were so nervous going to test this transmission, but it literally shifted out of first before we even left the driveway, and it sounded amazing.
Tire's just loose. That's crazy.
Sliding.
We just shifted 3 gears right there. Just sliding.
It sounds good.
Sounds healthy.
The inside of the van, everything that we've been building, if you've been in a tiny house, a van, a bus, or anything like that, you know that things shift a lot when you drive, or there's always like little tweaks or noises that you hear. Nothing. Like, literally, the van is such a tank and drivable. It drives. It moves. It works. Do you hear it running? If you're wondering what year and all that our van is, it's a 2010 front end, 95 van originally, but it has a 97 engine and transmission in it. So it's literally the Frankenstein of Frankenstein vehicles, and it took us a while to figure out all those years. Needs to put the seat in.
See that? Reverse, drive. We got gears, baby. Pretty exciting stuff. So we got our little gauge here. This reads a bunch of important information. Rather than having a bunch of gauges up the column, I opted with just going with this. It was quite a bit more expensive, but I'm happy with it. It's an edge tuner. It spins tires, at least it's in snow, but it spins tires like this. That's like that much throttle. Chase the man, chase the man.
Go, buddy, go! Get your ex, where'd he go? He's so fast. And if you hear, nothing's like making noises in the back. And it's also full of tools.
Sounds really good in here.
Lance is coming back!
Sorry to have you out for so long. Had to go all the way up and turn around.
So if you've been here this whole time, or since we took the transmission out, the van's finally working, and I thank you for sticking with us this whole time and rooting for us, and I don't know, it just works, and we can finally leave when we're ready, which will be in 6 days. Oh, big man making his appearance. Oh, no, that's my granola bar. Baby. I love you.